Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back with another powerbook2ghost Season 4 theory and prediction video. And today, we will revisit the synopsis for Episode 8 of Ghost and discuss whether Tariq will see Brayden as a huge liability and kill him before the credits roll. We will also discuss what events could possibly lead to Tariq making this decision and how it would affect him. And more importantly, will his hallucination from drugs in Episode 5 be a leading factor in that decision? We have to assume that the writers did not have Tariq go through all of that in Episode 5 just to be the same old Tariq. He's a bit more aggressive already and a bit more anxious to be the biggest drug dealer in New York City. And we need to talk about this right now. Now, this video is going to be another banger, so go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel so y'all get this fire every day, because this is where you will get the wildest, most creative, and entertaining power theories on the World Wide Web. Also, if you're a power fan or power theory content creator, I'm still looking to collaborate with all of you in future videos. I just want to say, guys, I'm back from a vacation. I was a little bit burnt out, and I got my son for the summer, and I just wanted to spend some time with my family, do a little bit of partying, but I'm back. And I'd also love to get you guys on the weekly lives that I do 3 times a week, where we can recap the episodes together and talk everything power. Now, if you want to be a part of that, email me at n.almighty1991@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at Nate_Almighty_GDA. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. All right, now, y'all. As usual, let's break it down like this. Now, as of today, we have all seen Episode 5 of powerbook2ghost Season 4, in which, Brayden's new John laced Tariq's drink, and it caused him to have an ego trip, a mind trip, any kind of trip, a good or bad trip, whatever you guys want to call it. Now, Brayden didn't intend for this thing to happen, but it happened because he aligned himself with someone who he had no business aligning himself with in the first place, right? And no good will come from that. We all know this. But here's the question, right? And at the end of this video, I'll let you guys know what I personally think. But the question that we are proposing today is, does Tariq end up killing Brayden? And does it have something to do with his ego trip? Meaning, did his trip off of acid, LSD, whatever you want to call it, right? DMT, whichever one particularly it is, right? Did it lead him to figure out in his mind that in order for him to get to the very top, Brayden will have to go? And that does not mean that he has already made the decision. But it does imply that perhaps it's currently in the back of his mind. Because I'll tell y'all something, right? After he had this trip, right, off of the drugs, he came back to his quote-unquote senses. There's a scene later on where Brayden is talking to Tariq about Noma. And Tariq says, "Fuck Noma, bro," right? The way he's acting, to me, that didn't seem like normal Tariq. So to me, that implies that his mindset is perhaps a little different, and the drugs played a role. We also know that Diana left Tariq's side because Tariq told her, "Hey, listen, I don't need to leave the game. I need to be at the top of the game." Also, we know that within his dream, right, when he took out himself, he said, "You have to be everything. You can be everything that your father was afraid to be." We have to ask ourselves, what does that imply? And now, when I ask myself that question, and yes, we're going to relate this to Brayden, and we're going to end this the way it's supposed to end, but we gotta cook for a second, man. And we gotta slow cook, all right? This is about to be beef stew. When Tariq tells Tariq, you can become everything your dad was afraid to be, right? Does that imply that he's saying that Ghost was afraid to be the biggest drug dealer in New York City? And take it even further, does this imply that he is aware of the weaknesses that held his father back and the attachments that held his father back? And of those said attachments that potentially held Ghost back, right, for being everything he wanted to be, is Tariq, or has Tariq been wondering if Tasha was one of those people, and more importantly, Tommy was one of those people? As Tariq's mind was affected by the drugs, and even without the drugs, as he's focusing on who he wants to be and what he wants to become, is he looking at the steps that his father took and seeing that having people too close to you, such as how he was so close to Tommy, and how he literally would at least know a little bit about how Tommy got in Ghost's way from doing a lot of things? Is he realizing, or is he slowly realizing, or will he realize by episode 8, right? As we know, the synopsis said that Brayden's gonna dumb out. Something bad's gonna happen between him and that girl, the dope fiend girl, right? And Brayden is going to take it somewhere. He's going to do something wrong. Are we going to get Tariq to realize at this point that in order for him to get as far as he needs to go, he has to cut off a lot of loose ends? And one of those said loose ends would be Brayden? We have to ask ourselves, when Tariq told Tariq, you can be everything your father is afraid to be, is it him finally embracing, or does it mean we're going to see him finally embrace what Effie told him in season 1, which is that you're a monster? Because we have to ask ourselves, was Ghost a monster? I would say, no, he was not. I would say that every screwed up thing he did, every murder he committed, he deemed it to be extremely necessary. And when we watch it on screen, we can see that all of these things were necessary. But at the same time, right, we've seen him have at least some sort of code when it came to family, best friends, things of that nature. Whereas, if he was a monster, the woman who he let live the very first episode of OG Power, who Tommy ended up killing, if he really was a monster and super savage, that woman would have died that same day, like Tommy wanted to happen. Tasha would have been dead for threatening to rat on him and getting in the way of him dealing with his children, especially Tariq. Tasha would have been gone. Okay. Ghost probably would have decided to kill Tommy, right? He would have killed Tommy a while back, knowing that Tommy wasn't ready to elevate and leave the game like he was. Also, Tariq would probably, if he hasn't thought about it already, if he ends up killing Brayden in episode 8, 9, or 10, he would realize that Ghost made the mistake by not killing even Kanan, someone who Tariq viewed to be his best friend. And here's another thing. Speaking of best friends, does he not consider Brayden to ever have been his best friend? What kind of real relationship? From the surface, it seems like best friends. They've killed for each other, right? They put their necks on the line for each other. But does Tariq view him that way? So when we look at the synopsis for episode 8, will Tariq decide that Brayden has to go because he's too much of a liability? Because as of now, Tariq would also know, right, that Uncle Tommy probably had some kind of a drug problem back then. Even though in the current timeline, he doesn't have it now. We may see Tariq say, hey, Brayden, you're on drugs. You dealing with the dope fiend girl, he's going to be irate when he finds out that the dope fiend girl laced him. He may even think or be paranoid and think that Brayden and the girl did it, right? Because Brayden made the mistake of not telling Tariq immediately, because we know what that comes with. The dope fiend girl has to go, right? She knows too much anyway, and she's drugging me, right? Shorty gotta go. Is this the reason why we could see Tariq taking the time out to make a very difficult decision, a decision in which we may even see him for the first time shed a tear? Did he shed a tear after he shot Ghost, assuming Ghost is dead? No. We may see him decide Brayden gotta go. But what we will find out is, or we will be able to speculate is it because of the drugs? Or is it just because it's a decision that he realized he had to make because Brayden is now on drugs? Does Brayden not deserve a chance to get himself right? Or is Brayden gonna put Tariq in a situation where Tariq says, hey, in order for me to win, in order for me to avoid jail, in order for me to protect my family, and that's considering if Tasha's still alive, that means Brayden gotta go. What say you all? Me personally, I just can't help but feel like Tariq will be confronted with this. He'll contemplate it. He may even get to a point where he's in the act about to do it. And I think ultimately he's going to change his mind. I think that although he has savage qualities, I think that he sees the value in Brayden. He sees the loyalty in Brayden. He has to understand, he will be forced to understand that Brayden chose his life. He's still very green. Maybe he'll give Brayden a final warning or something. But I personally do not believe that Tariq will kill Brayden. But if he does, would it be a decision that he was already contemplating before his drugs was laced by the dope fiend girl? Or did him being laced affect his brain chemistry and it made him a little bit more irate, a little bit more reckless, a little bit more dangerous? What say you all? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's God gifted. That's touched by an ink. That's on the dome, nigga.